Hi, this is Joe Offenberg again with CA Technologies. Today I want to continue our discussion around CA release automation and drill into our integration with configuration management solutions like Puppet and Chef to dynamically prepare test environments as part of the continuous delivery process. If you remember, continuous delivery allows us to speed up the delivery of business value in the form of application capabilities, right? Get these enhancements that come out of the agile development process, get these capabilities out to production as quickly as possible, okay? By automating the deployment and testing and promotion of these new application builds, we can enhancements out in minutes. But our challenge here is the environment. How do we get the environments ready? It's especially test environments where different applications may be sharing resources. So first I'm going to log into CA Release Automation. And from here you see we start out, we look at the dashboard here. This is basically showing us all the deployments, but I want to go into a specific deployment plan that's now ready for scalability testing. This is build 705. We want to now take it to the next environment, which is our scalability testing lab. It's completed some QA testing, but now the last step is some scalability testing. And as you can see here, the scalability testing doesn't actually exist as a lab. There's no application servers and no database servers because we're going to provision this dynamically on the fly, right? So let's go ahead and kick off that deployment. Okay, this is application name is cars 1.0, and we are 705 dash, let's say 35, and go ahead and make sure this is the scalability lab. And what we see here is after we save it, we start the deployment, the initialization process for the deployment. The first step in there, actually the only step in there, is to provision those servers. So initially we're going to provision the servers. So let's take a look at what that entails, right? You can see there's some inputs required. But let's see what those inputs are required for. So we need to provide these instances. We're going to create database instances and application instances. Those are loops. We're going to loop over basically a number that we're going to add here as a parameter. So we're going to decide how many application servers we need. We're going to do 5 application servers and 2 database servers. That's going to be our scalability environment for this scalability testing that we're doing on this go. So now the provisioning has initialized. If we go back to the process, we can see actually the execution of those loops took place, right? So 5 times we looped over the run application instance, and twice we looped over the run database instance. And you can see now we're in another loop where we're actually waiting for those instances to come up. We're waiting for the provisioning to complete, right? So we ran the instances here, and then we're doing basically a delay, wait 15 seconds, and then count the instances and check. So if we go back to the environment, it's a little early now. We might not see anything just yet, but let's just take a look. The agent assignment here, we see we still don't have any application servers or database servers. So what's happening now under the covers, I can show you. If we go to Amazon, and I'll bring that up so you can then see what the screen looks like. So yeah, let me log into the Amazon console, and we'll see we have running instances. So these ones initializing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are our new instances that we're provisioning for the application server. Okay, so we have the 5 application servers and 2 databases. That's our 7 new servers are initializing. So let's refresh this and see if anything is starting to propagate. Okay. Now, once they provision, once they start showing up, right, the next phase of the pre-deployment phase, the next step is to configure the environment. So, and we do that through our integration with Puppet, and that's what I want to show you right now. So Puppet has server types, similar, what they're called roles, right? So these roles will map basically one-to-one with our server type. So a role in Puppet is a group of classes that are applied to a specific type of server. So in our case, we'll take an application server, and we'll see in the Puppet environment, we can map a role of web app to that application server. What this means is any servers that come under the type application server will get the role web app in Puppet. And we're doing the same thing with the database server, right? We're going to map role DB server to the server type of database server in our environment, in the release automation environment. What's good is this allows you to take basically blank images out of Amazon, right? And we see here they've been assigned, right? So I have 5 application servers and 2 database servers. We see here, if we go to the deployment, we see we can now look at what's been executed. So the deployment is now running. If we look at the application deployment, we'll see how we configure those. We applied the role of web app to the application servers, and here's a list of the 5 application servers that were provisioned by Amazon, and the 2 that were provisioned as database servers received the database role. Okay, so this happens before we do any deployment. Puppet is ensuring that these applications, these servers that were provisioned by Amazon are now configured as the appropriate server types, right? So when we deploy the application, we could see all the actions are now, all the deployment actions are now running on every single one of those servers individually, actually concurrently. The whole process is happening concurrently on all 5 of those application servers. So it doesn't matter if we do 3 servers, 5 servers, 1,000 servers, they're all going to execute the same process. And that's what's great about this is we could dynamically change the size of this. And this is why it's great for a scalability lab. Okay, so if we look here, the deployment is completed, right? And we can then just see, what servers the actual application deployed to. Okay, so let me just take one of these, and this is a live server. It's on the internet. I'm just going to type this up here into the URL, and we could actually see that the application did deploy, and there it is, forward cars, now running in our scalability lab. And if all the testing is completed successfully and to our satisfaction, then what we'll do is we can then add another input parameter here that allows us to then deprovision those servers, right? So everything's complete. Now we want to stop utilizing these cloud resources. I'll refresh this. You can see now they are shutting down, which is great. We provisioned, we configured, we automated the execution of our test cases, and then we deprovisioned, and this is all happening in an automated way. I provided some input, how big I want the environment to be, and whether we should shut it down or not, but for the most part, it's entirely automated, and that's the great thing about continuous delivery. And I hope this was useful, and thank you very much for listening.